Okinawa. I just had a blank. My brain just went Hokkaido. It's like, it's definitely not Hokkaido. It's the ok sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the ok sound that I know? Oh, Hokkaido. No, Okinawa. Hello, welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite harem protagonist.
I forgot to write a segue into the first episode of the show today, so we're just going to go straight into Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, episode 4.
Yeah.
God bless this show. It's so sweet.
It is really sweet. Almost as sweet as the candy that he is trying to sell at the Nagashi shop.
Yeah, so after the previous episode, he's started helping out at this old-style candy shop. And he texts Kyoko to say that he's doing this. And she hops on her bike and races over to, see him at the shop. And it's incredible that either of these people hasn't figured it out yet. So they hang out at the candy shop a bit. And he proudly shows her all the shelf labels he's made that are full of Japanese dad jokes, which I, of course, love.
Mm-hmm.
He shows her this one snack that boasts of having 16 different flavors, and she's like, oh, wow, it really does have 16 different flavors. And then she buys a bunch of every flavor.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out of there with... Look, I have historically had a problem with buying too much candy. And if I came out of a shop with that much candy in a shopping bag, I think even I would realize I was having a problem.
Yeah.
It's so much candy.
I mean, it's not candy, it's umaibo. They're like little popcorn snacks.
That is not any healthier.
It's not, but it's not as far as density goes.
Yeah.
They're pretty big in terms of volume. A grocery bag full of that versus a grocery bag full of candy is going to be different.
Yeah. But also, she's not buying them because she's got an eating problem. She's buying them because she's in love with the shopkeep. Then at school, horrible news. There's going to be a seating rearrangement. And all the kids who knew Yano in middle school are like, you can't make Yano sit in this seat, and this seat, and this seat because of all the different things that will injure him.
Yeah.
And it ends up there's exactly one seat he can sit in, which is in the dead middle of the room. And Kyoko is worried that she's not going to get to sit next to him. And I don't think this classmate of theirs has been established before at all.
He has. He was there goofing off with her and her friend when they were trying to get Yano's lunch sorted.
Oh, he's that bozo. Okay.
Yes.
He has the protagonist seat in the class, I think.
Yeah.
But he sticks up his hand and he says, I think that Kyoko should sit next to Yano so that she can take care of him when he gets injured anyway, even though we've given him the safest seat in the class.
Yeah.
Just masterful wingman behavior.
Yeah.
But the big point of this episode, so Kyoko is the class president, and the class deputy president is a boy called Hashiba, who is, he's not full on school heartthrob type, but he's definitely in that zone.
Yeah, he's definitely a popular-ish boy, especially with the girls.
Yeah. And he, out of nowhere, confesses to Kyoko. He's like, I like you. I know you like Yano, and I'm not trying to get in the way, but I had to say something because this is tearing me apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a sequence of short scenes establishing that they are the same person.
Yep.
They do so many things the same. And, normally the archetype in romantic stories is that two characters who are exactly the same can't be compatible. But in a lot of ways, they are perfectly compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is the most realistic portrayal, I think, of Japanese high school student council work I think I've ever seen, because it's just them sitting in the student council office, stapling documents together to hand out to their classmates.
Mm-hmm.
And they're working on this together, and they're talking about, how much they enjoy just doing this kind of routine task. And that might be the most useful skill in a relationship, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other things as well, but then Hashiba realizes that he can't just let it go, and he wants to know what it is that Kyoko sees in Yano. So he starts following Yano around, because this is an anime, and that's what you do when you're weird about someone in an anime. And he starts following Yano around, and I know you're going to dunk on me for this, but he falls in love with Yano.
I'm not going to dunk on you for it. I'm just going to say, yeah, that tracks for how you would see this.
Like, he befriends Yano.
He falls for Yano in the same way that Kyoko did. It's just that he's not gay. So...
Well, there's time yet.
No.
I don't think he's going to be gay, but also the energy is so choice.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, it's actually kind of lovely to watch.
Mm.
And the main scene of this happens when they're like hanging out in a little kid's playground. I don't know what the name for these like playground things is, but it's like the little kind of hobby horse that's on a spring that you sit on, and it can wobble back and forth. Like one-person things. And there are two of them next to each other, and they're sat on these things chatting. And Yano is swinging his body around like he's riding a motorbike in like MotoGP racing.
Like doing corners and stuff kind of thing.
It's adorable. And of course he falls off, but then he gets Hashiba to try it as well, and Hashiba's like, oh wait, this is really fun.
God, they're idiots. I love them.
And I'm not going to say I remember doing that sort of thing when I was 16, 17, but certainly similar. There was a park near college that we'd go to on lunch breaks, and we would often just like park ourselves on the swing set and swing. So yeah, that was very sweet. And then...
How are you going to pivot this one, dear?
And then there is Watari-kun's Blank is About to Collapse, episode 17, which, you know, I keep saying this show is a horror show, and... there sure is an extended scene in this show where Satsuki is a zombie nurse.
I mean...
And it is horrifying.
It's really funny because that's literally the same shit that fucking Makine pulls with Shiki.
Anyway, we skip 2 weeks. At the end of the last episode, we had Satsuki giving Watari an ultimatum saying, you need to ask me out before the festival. And it gets to the festival and he hasn't asked her out. And there's a lot of hype around the idea that Yukari is going to ask someone out at the festival. Everybody thinks it's going to be Tokui. She's not interested in Tokui. She lets slip that it's Watari. So now there are a bunch of rumors about that. And what she really wants is to get a chance to speak to Watari alone because she wants to reestablish their relationship. And she is the main attraction at the, like, cosplay cafe that the class is running, or not even really a cosplay cafe, just a cafe but with cute uniforms. And so when she goes on break to find Watari and talk to him, a whole bunch of like guys show up asking for photos with her and pursue them all over the school until they steal the mascot heads from like
another class,
a different class's mascots and put those on to hide themselves. They hide in an alley with the mascot heads on, and they have this conversation where Yukari says that she wants to get back together, and they are talking through the mascot heads, and then they do a mascot head kiss at the end. More on that later. But then the mascots find them and take their heads back, so they get caught again by the lads, and Watari steps up to like protect Yukari and just gets flattened immediately, which feels sadly apt for this show. But then Satsuki shows up in costume from the haunted house that her class are doing as a zombie nurse. And she takes flattened Watari to the nurse's office while Yukari goes back to the cafe to do her next shift, bringing in the punters. And we get this long scene of Satsuki and Watari talking in the nurse's office. And that... oh, God. Like, all the stuff with the mascots and getting chased around the school and all that stuff is so goofy. And then we get to this scene, and it's Satsuki and Watari talking, and Satsuki is pressing him to answer her about whether or not they're going to date, and what Watari is going to do. And so he answers, like, I love you both. Basically, I love you both, so I'm not going to go out with either of you. Which, not to imitate the famous Tumblr account, I suggest Force Femme, but I have a suggestion.
Yeah, turn him into a girl.
That was not going to be my suggestion.
I know.
But anyway, there are better solutions than not dating either of them, is where I was going with
We
that.
do have a brand.
I have a brand. I don't think I'm in a position to implicate you in this one.
Yeah, you
Unless
only
you want to be
started a
implicated.
podcast with me because you like my taste in harem anime, you dumbass.
Anyway, Satsuki is obviously very sad about this, And she does almost make the suggestion that I would make, but she makes it in the most heartbreaking way, because what she says is, okay, instead of not dating either of us, you should date Yukari and cheat on her with me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind being your mistress. And again, this show has the kids say a lot of things that sound absurd, and this is probably one of them. But kids say absurd things. Teenagers say absurd things when they're in love and when they're dealing with how it feels to be in love as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I felt fucking nailed to the wall because I can remember saying out-of-pocket shit like that as a teen, and people saying out-of-pocket shit like that to me as a teen. It is so real, and I'm going to be thinking about that scene for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets worse.
Because it does that.
Because, so Satsuki kisses Watari to invoke the curse about if you kiss someone at the festival. No, that's right, if you kiss someone at the after party, and it's moments after the PA comes on to announce the after party, Satsuki leans in and kisses him to invoke the curse, and then walks off, bidding him goodbye. And then Watari goes to speak to Yukari and turn her down as well, and goes home to Suzu, super sad. Yukari skips school for 3 days with a broken heart, and her mother is a bitch to her about it. I'm not going to mince words on that. I hate her mother a lot. At school, Satsuki's not talking to Watari, and the episode ends in comedy, but a kind of comedy that only this show could do, where Yukari's younger brother is mad at Watari for upsetting his sister. And so he wants to get Watari to come and meet up with Yukari to straighten things out, and he's going to have it out with Watari at this. And he gets Tokui to help him make the arrangements, but instead of bringing Watari, Tokui brings Suzu, and Suzu talks about how she used to be jealous of Watari's interest in other girls, but now she's grown up and she's gotten over that because that was 4 months ago, which is how things feel when you're an 8-year-old child. And Sho is the same age, and he clearly is smitten with Suzu, which is great. I can't wait for them to be vastly more functional than any other characters in the show.
The best / worst part is if Suzu and Sho end up seeing each other more, and because of that, Yukari and Watari have to interact more. It's gonna be a nightmare. Which, fucking, we got a third of the series left.
And speaking of nightmare, the last thing in the episode is Watari's aunt, who he lives with, tells him there's been a phone call and he needs to go back to the previous place he lived to pick up a laptop that was left there. And for some reason, the aunt is really desperate to make sure that he picks up the laptop. And we don't know what's on the laptop or why this could matter so much. And I'm very scared.
Yup.
This boy's going to go on a quest.
Yeah. So I got curious to how far away we are from the end of the series, because it seems like they're adapting the entirety of the manga. I went and read some of the manga of the stuff that got adapted this episode, and it really showed to me how ridiculously compressed the anime is being, both in terms of like things are happening and they're cutting out a lot of like what they view as extraneous bits. Like Makina hasn't shown up in like 3 episodes or something.
Yeah.
But she's there in the manga in the background doing things. But also just like a lot of little details that don't take up much real estate on the page, but they would need to dedicate frames and animations for in anime.
Yeah.
So they just nix. And I continue to think this is going to be a very solid show. And Becky's clearly enjoying it. You're clearly enjoying it.
Yep.
Because it's really good.
And, suffering as well, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah. But it's definitely going to be something that in the future I'm probably going to go, hey, watch the first few episodes, and if you like it, probably read the manga instead. Because I said this at the start of the season when we were like, oh, we're getting a second core, huh? But it really does feel like a lot of different stuff is getting kind of shed as they need to cram in 16 volumes of manga, 92 chapters.
Didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, 92 chapters, and we're on like episode 17 and we hit chapter 61. So we're 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really compressing it,
Mm.
which is not an inherently bad thing. But I feel like this series in particular, along with the art being, it has a different aura in the manga compared to the show.
Yeah.
It's, respecting the source material and seeking it out is probably a better way to go.
Anyway, on to Inexpressive Kashiwada and Expressive Oota, episode 4, which opens on Oota asking Kashiwada out. He is the only one who thinks that he is not asking Kashiwada out. He thinks he's asking her to see a horror movie with him so that she can get scared by the horror movie so he can actually get a reaction out of her. But he's asking her out, and everybody else knows it, including Kashiwada, who is thrilled.
Yeah. He does this in front of the entire class, by the way.
To his credit, he does it in front of the entire class. It's very cool of him. They go to the movie, and instead of watching the movie, which is all like gross jump scares that scare him, she basically watches him the entire time, and he realizes this and says, "Don't watch me, watch the movie," and points at the screen. And it's the love scene. And he was planning to prank her with, I wasn't sure what it was.
It was konnyaku.
Which is...
Do you not know?
I know the term, and I know I've known what it is before, but...
It is basically...
Is it seaweed?
I don't think it's seaweed. Basically, it's a plant that they condense into like a block of jelly.
Ah, right.
It has seaweed in it, but yeah, no, it's just like a wet thing that stays pretty moist, but basically it would be like getting hit with a sticky hand in the middle of in the middle of
a horror movie.
Yeah.
But he drops it and it falls onto like her side of the armrest, and she notices it and picks it up, and she pranks him with it instead of him pranking her.
Yep.
And then they get to the end of the movie, and apparently the movie turned really wholesome at the end, and he was crying. And then she drags him to a game center and makes him get her a crane game prize. And they go to a cafe, and she has a parfait that is as tall as she is. And then on the way home, she falls asleep on his shoulder on the train, and he has to sit there and listen to a bunch of people nearby talking about how cute a couple they make.
It's really good.
So good.
You deserve this, buddy.
You deserve this, and someday you'll be happy about that. Then there's an arc where Kashiwada has been caring for a stray cat, but she can't keep doing so. So all the other characters kind of work together to try to find someone who'll adopt the cat. They go around knocking on doors and stuff. Oota posts a social media post about it, but he only has 3 followers. And yet somehow that is how they find an adopter from the next town over. So he did save the day for her.
The power of hashtags and a fictional Twitter that still works is the thing.
Yeah. Then it is Kashiwada's birthday, and the class president, who is her #1 fan, gives her a bunch of presents, which makes her very happy. And then everybody is like looking at Oota, waiting for him to wish her happy birthday, and he goes, I hope you have a shitty birthday. Nah.
And everyone goes, "That's not cool, dude.
Yeah.
Say happy birthday."
And he doesn't. So she follows him around all day, waiting for him to say it. And by the time he gets home, he is looking haunted. And he gets home and he's like, oh man, you can tell that he genuinely feels bad about it as well. It's one of those things where very clearly it started as a bit and then he didn't know how to back out of the bit. And so he carried it way past the point that he was comfortable with.
Yep.
So he messages her like a silly sticker on his like signature silly sticker online. And she messages back and it's literally just lol.
Yep.
So he sends her happy birthday, and with it he sends her a couple of really cute cat pics.
Yep.
But he spent so long stressing over how to say it that she's had to go and eat dinner, so she's left her phone.
Yep.
So he's just like hanging on unread for an hour or something while his sister at his house watches him and takes the piss out of him.
Yep.
Which is exactly what he deserves.
Yep.
In characters getting what they deserve in a much nicer way, there is episode 3 of Wandance. The fashion stuff in this is so funny. So the president of the dance club's name is On, and she is star material. She's super charismatic. She's a great dancer. She is like magnetic to look at. But in one of the practice sessions, she's wearing like a cut-off hoodie that says "Don't look at me" on it. But she's also wearing a baseball cap, and on the baseball cap, it just says "On" at the front. Then later in the episode, Cabo has on a t-shirt, and it says, "Today is not Wednesday" on it, but with a space between "to" and "day." And like, I get that that's kind of t-shirt English typical stuff, but most of the other t-shirts that he's worn, it's been possible to see like how they resonate with what's going on at the time. That one I couldn't understand why at all. Why they needed to like let us know it wasn't Wednesday. But Kabo describes his stammer as like drowning, and he feels that if he is in conversation with others, if he's trying to participate in the conversation, because of his stammer, he throws everyone else off their rhythm, so he just stays quiet. And he really likes seahorses. For some reason, like, the drowning thing makes him wish that he was a seahorse that could live underwater. But by the end of this episode, he's out at the shops, and some other members of the club, of the dance club, who are not people that we've met before or that you've spoken to before, see him and they come up to him and they start chatting with him and they go for like a drink afterwards. And he's kind of able to participate. We also have the audition. Like, the club president is rushing them into the first auditions for the first dance show, and she wants everyone to audition because she can see, among other things, that Kabo needs to be pushed into it. And she gets them to do the auditions in pairs, so she has two of them dancing at the same time. And she pairs him up with Wanda, because obviously they're friends. And they're like last in the order. They're at the back of the queue. And this show is so good at capturing the fear that you feel waiting for your turn to perform. And then he goes up with Wanda, and Wanda starts, tearing up the dance floor, because of course. And he freezes up completely, just kind of watching her in wonderment and thinking, I can never do that. But then he notices something in her technique and tries that, and suddenly it all clicks for him, and he's dancing really well. And one of the things that the other club members he's talking to are second years, so they've been through a year already, and he asks them what it's like to be in a dance competition, and they tell him a thing which I think is quite broadly true for performing arts, is that, like, when you actually get up on stage, you get lost in it, and you don't necessarily remember it either. Like, you just flip into that on-stage mode, and this captures that so well, like the emotional journey of performing. And then later he's practicing by himself. He was supposed to meet with Wanda, and she hasn't shown up, and he's stressing about it, and he's trying to message her, and I forget exactly what happens, but she ends up calling him, and she opens the phone call by saying, like, I figured you probably wouldn't like phone calls because of the stammer, so I'll just speak and you listen so that I can pass this message on. And it turns out that it's just that her family member is ill and she needs to look after him, and so she had to miss. But the fact that she took that time to set him at ease, that consideration, again, it's like, the show's just really powerful in how it handles this disability and how it puts the emphasis on other people doing the work to make it comfortable for Kabo. So, strength to strength. Something to something. It's Chitose in the Ramune bottle, episode 3, which you watched.
Yeah, speaking of kids with social issues. Yeah, last week, it put me on edge a little bit on how this series was going to go, because the focus on, like, individualist responses to, systemic problems / bigger social bubbles bullying one kid was not great. So this episode started with Kenta deciding that he wanted to meet back up with the group who kicked him out, just to basically, like, he starts the episode going, I want to show them that I've changed it. I'm not going to take their bullshit anymore. But eventually he just kind of, like, feels slightly more sure of himself and just wants to meet back up with them so that they can maybe make up and be friends again. But after they set that up, they get back to class, and Kenta is being bullied by a different group of people.
Fucking damn it.
But here's the thing. It's being led by this guy who has a grudge against Chitose, who used to be his rival in baseball in middle school. Which, yeah, that explains the, like, Chitose treating his baseball pet with, like, calling it Aibo.
Yeah.
But he gets on Kenta for, like, seemingly wasting Chitose's time, like, not being good enough for Chitose. And this
rivalries is such nonsense.
It really, yeah. But, like, Chitose and a couple of his friends step in and go like, hey, what the fuck is your problem? And a specific line sets Kenta off in a way that the rest of it doesn't, which is, don't make Chitose waste his time on your petty games. And Chitose's response to the whole situation is, I'm the one who gets to, like, choose who I hang out with, guy. Like, fuck off, please.
Yeah.
But after that, he's, like, really adamant that since he convinced Kenta to like be part of their social group, at least for a little bit, and like try and be more social in the way that he was putting forward. It's on him to make sure that he ends up in a good place. And then like he gets interrupted while he's moping about this by the basketball girl from his crew of way too many girls I don't remember the name of. And she's just like, hey, come help me do my like after school workout stuff. So he goes and helps her, and they do some like stretches, and then they do like a basketball one-on-one, and she wants to grill him about why he like quit baseball. But she's just like, all right, let's have a duel. 1v1, whoever loses has to answer something from the winner, and I'm gonna find out why you're all mopey and down right now. And she wins because she plays basketball and he doesn't.
Right, okay. I thought he was a basketball guy.
Nope.
My bad.
He's generically kind of athletic, but hasn't played anything since middle school.
Right, okay.
And he was in baseball anyway. But yeah, she's just like, so why are you so bent out of shape about something? And he gives her the rundown, and she's just like, all right, you need to stop being so full of yourself. He is just as responsible for accepting your proposition as you are for putting him in this position, and you need to like support him, but respect his resolve. And if you're gonna be his coach, you need to let him do his best and only help him when he's in trouble, instead of trying to catch him ahead of time and not, try to improve. Like, the whole thing is like, you're trying to do self-improvement for him, you gotta let him improve.
Yeah. You're trying to do self-improvement for him, you are not his self.
Yes. But yeah, so he takes that under consideration, and then the next day they have a soccer game. Like, the next day they cut to, because it's like, this is a vague 3-week period.
Yeah.
They have a soccer game in class. The bullies are being assholes to Chitose and Kenta. Chitose basically makes a bet that whoever loses has to do, like, this embarrassing dance. He goes, don't worry about it, Kenta. Like, if you want to participate, you can, but, like, you don't gotta do the punishment. And Chitose is basically, like, trying to include Kenta more in the soccer game, even though he's really not good with physical stuff.
Yeah.
Because Chitose just enjoys when everyone is involved, because that's the kind of person he is. But Kenta takes a couple of embarrassing moments because of that enthusiasm, and he is not the sort to take that well.
Yeah.
And then after school, Chitose and Yuko, the blonde one who went with Chitose to Kenta's place when the window got broken, are both like, they're talking shit, but in like the friendly banter way to them. Like, if I was talking shit with you, you would understand that I'm not like disrespecting you.
Yeah.
Like, it's me giving you shit about like being a misandrist or whatever.
Yes.
But Kenta is swapping his shoes at the locker and hears that and goes, absolutely. Like, it makes him snap, basically. And he starts yelling at Chitose about that, and Chitose apologizes, like, sorry, I really am. And Yuko like starts going in on Kenta, and then Chitose goes, nope, stop. If I made him feel that way, I crossed a line, and I'm really sorry. And when Kenta hears that, he runs away, and Chitose just like shouts after him, do your best tomorrow, because he's going to be meeting up with his friend group. And then, like, he mutters to himself because Kenta's already gone, like, I believe in you. But they cut from that to a scene of Yuko and Chitose walking home, and Yuko asking if Chitose is all right with how this is going to end up. And he's just like, yeah, we said we were going to do this for 3 weeks tops. Tomorrow's out of my jurisdiction, pretty much. And Yuko's just like, you are a better person than me, because you're the reason I helped, because you believe that Kenta could change more than I did, and you got all these people to help him. And the line she says is, the truly good people are the ones who are never really sure they're good enough. And he responds with, I'll take that with a grain of salt because of your taste in men, which is aimed at himself. But
hey, babe.
He shut up.
The truly good people are the ones who are never really sure they're good enough.
But yeah, she's just like, I have dealt with a lot of people because of my history. I'm going to believe in my judgment. And he's just like, I guess I'll trust your judgment too. And that's where the episode ends. And I'm just like, fuck, that's good, question mark? But I'm really, it still feels like I'm in arc 2 of something that I need the first context, like the first arc context for. Because like, I really do want this to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But there is clearly some fucking complexes this boy has about what he's allowed to be as part of his idealized self.
Yeah.
There's another scene where like he's talking to one of the girls in the evening, and she's like, so why did you fucking help Kenta? And he's just like, I got blackmailed into it by my teacher. And she's just like, bullshit.
Even though it's technically true.
Yeah. But she's just like, I think you did it because you're Saku Chitose. And he reacts to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think my initial read of this is Hayama trying to be Hachiman.
Yeah.
Snafu is not wrong.
Yeah.
But there's more going on there, and I can't wait to find out what it is. And I think the particular arc they started on is just a rough one to start on.
Maybe.
With the particular perspective that they're trying to go for. We'll see.
Yeah.
I am going to continue watching.
Good, because I'm really enjoying having you explain it to me rather than sitting through it myself, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about Gnosia E3.
Yup.
So, at the end of the previous episode, we were introduced to two new characters, one of whom appeared to be an alien, and whose first line in this episode is, they're saying there's an alien aboard, which is a really good bit. Just brilliant writing.
Yep.
But we get to know this guy. His name is Shigemichi. Yuri finds him at one point. Like, he's in the refectory or whatever, the commissary, and there are holograms making it look like a Japanese ramen joint.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever Shigemichi's from, it's not Earth, because he calls them Earthlings.
He calls Gina specifically an Earthling.
Yeah, and Yuri as well.
No, I don't know if Yuri's an Earthling. Gina is specifically, like, known to be an Earthling.
I think Shigemichi calls Yuri an Earthling at one point. So he's clearly from off-world. He's also really excited to have ramen actually made by an Earthling.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the reason he looks like an alien is the grey skin is like artificial skin after he had some terrible accident.
Yeah.
Which doesn't explain his build and body type and head proportions and shit, but go off, I guess. Yuri is starting to, like, work out how they are supposed to handle things and how they are supposed to, like, play a role in this, because they work out that they get some sort of hint, specifically when if a Gnosia is asked, are you human, and lies, Yuri gets this, like, brief visual effect, kind of indicates that they're lying, and they use that to get their first win, where they do, in fact, actually box the right people, and they survive. And then it immediately loops again, and I don't know why. So I guess we'll find out.
Because it's never just solving the one mystery, it's solving the meta-mystery.
Yeah. In a show that could not be more opposite of anything to do with solving mysteries, really. In episode 5 of May I Ask for One Final Thing, we learned the terrible truth for Val that Scarlet does not believe in isekai.
You best start believing in isekai, you're in one.
She beats the crap out of the minister, the lord that was running this slave auction, but he's got magical protection, so he comes back and shoots her with the gun that Terranetza gave him. But Julius jumps in the way and takes the bullet in the back, and Scarlet then finishes the minister off, but also thinks that Julius has died and is about to give, like, an emotional farewell speech to him, and he sits up because Leo has saved him. Then there's a montage of, like, the people talking about Scarlet and how good she is and how great it is that she broke up the slave auction and stuff, and they're speculating on, like, what her personal life is and what sort of pets she might have. Like, oh, she'd have an elegant cat or a brave hunting dog, and it cuts to her and she's taming the dragon that she's stolen from the guy she beat up in the previous episode. And not only that, but Nanaka, her beastkin shifter boy that she just has adopted, is watching on and getting jealous because puppy. And she sees this and she, like, holds out her hands to him and he turns into a puppy and jumps into her arms. We get a whole bunch of exposition about what Terranetza, the villainess, the actual villainess, is up to, which is all to do with, like, turning one of the world's religions into the dominant religion, and, like, it's full of corrupt noble priests who are taking their followers for a ride and so on. And I'm sure that will be important, but I just want to see Scarlet punch things. And then at the end of the episode, Scarlet has a visit from two of her school friends, one of whom is, like, her rival at school. who apparently is missing her terribly, but is also massively tsundere about that, because of course she is. And they're getting to the point of teasing Scarlet about her love life when Julius shows up uninvited and interrupts and drags Scarlet away to flirt with her some more, and is going through all the motions of making a romantic advance, and she's getting blushy, and then he calls her his most beloved toy. And mocks the idea that she might have been romantically interested in him. And so this episode ends with her getting ready to beat the crap out of him. And I dearly want to know what the fuck his deal is on that. Like, what the hell is he doing?
His best to piss her off.
I guess so.
Also, he didn't...
Maybe he saw that other prince enjoying getting beaten up and wanted to give it a try.
We've also completely neglected to mention that Scarlet's hair started turning black because she used too much magic.
That did happen. Also, the prince that she threw back to his own kingdom was found embedded headfirst in a tree.
Yep.
And rescued by one of his younger siblings.
Who went, how the fuck are all your bones broken? You're supposed to be made of metal. And he goes, I landed here from another kingdom. Ow.
This has not taught him any manners or restraint.
Nope.
Speaking of a lack of manners and restraint, in this Monster Wants to Eat Me, episode 4, Miko and Shiori... Miko, the friend of Hinako, the main character, and Shiori, the mermaid, who is, like, cultivating her for prime harvesting. But each of them finds out that the other is a supernatural being of some sort. And there's a long exposition of how, for years, yokai got by just by, like, posing as vagrants and wanderers. But you can't do that anymore. You need, like, ID. And here's how they go about, like, getting ID. And Shiori exposes Miko in front of Hinako. Like, shows her all the ways in which Miko's record doesn't make any sense. And so Miko transforms into her true self, which is a giant fucking kitsune. Like, house-sized kitsune. And then, instead of playing out the confrontation, it cuts to, like, a comedy flashback of Miko teaching Hinako to cook. Hinako was a disastrous cook at first, ruined everything. And it's suddenly paced like a gag comic. And it gets to the end of the episode, and instead of the usual ending, there's a special goofy gag comic Miko anime ending, ED. Because what the fuck is tone?
We just don't know.
And I'm sure that will... Because the thing is that as Shiori exposes Miko, she's like unpicking Hinako's memories of Miko.
Mm-hmm.
And those memories are kind of falling apart. And then we cut to this flashback that is presumably something that is in Hinako's memories, but not real? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is Alma-chan Wants to Be Family, episode 4, in which Enji and Suzume finally clean up all the accumulated bags of trash that they've just been stowing in the corners of their flat.
Mm-hmm.
Which they do bless them to give Alma her own bedroom, and then they take Alma to a film, and it's like a magical girl film, I think, and as they're walking out of it, Alma has a like toy wand that matches the magical girl show. And Enji has, like, the souvenir program. But that gets incinerated because they are attacked by another robot girl. And keeping with the theme of girls named Machina being frenetic problems, this is another girl named Machina. And she has come to confront Alma to prove that she is the best robot, and Alma wipes the floor with her repeatedly. And so Enji and Suzume end up taking Machina back to their pad to... Her head falls off, so they have to fix her up. And they persuade Machina that instead of fighting Alma, she should compete with her in less violent ways. And so they play video games together and stuff, and clearly are becoming quite close friends. And then a creature comes through the door. And the creature turns out to be Machina's creator, this obviously very sleep-deprived and depressed, obsessive purple-haired nerd girl, who is obsessed with Suzume. She was Suzume's kohai in like high school or college robotics club or something, and she's obsessed with her, and she cannot believe that Suzume would work with Enji as an equal, and when Alma declares Suzume and Enji to be her parents, she can't handle that either. Anyway, because Machina's creator followed Suzume's work and built Machina on similar principles, Alma declares that Machina is her younger sister. Makina, who is very competitive, does not want to be the younger sister, but this is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just good. It's great. I love the show.
Yeah.
Some brief mentions. We watched episode 4 of 2200 Cat Country. You watched episode 5 of A Wild Last Boss Appeared.
Yep, I sure did. So they left the City of Water and were like, okay, we need to go find the next one of my companions because we collected the femboy sheep, and now we're moving on
You didn't put femboy sheep in the notes.
That was last episode.
This is why you need to be telling me about this show on the regular.
I don't. No, it's fine.
You needed to tell me about the femboy sheep.
Anyway, the femboy sheep is here. And now we're gonna go, collect the maid that is guarding the tomb of the character that he's now inhabiting, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
She's not dead, so God knows why there's a tomb for her. But
you could start a religion out of this.
Well, they have to get in there too, because basically people want to get in there because there's a lot of good weapons in there, but it's being guarded by a lot of things, and Maid, which is one of the 12 companions she has based on the Zodiac, and they're like, okay, it's like 500 kilometers away. How are we going to get there? Because teleporting is kind of out of the question, and flying would make us really obvious. I know, let's make a traveling golem. Do you want to know what shape the traveling golem is in?
I would love to know.
It's an RV! And it comes with a fucking commercial that they make. I'm going to put several screenshots from it in your DMs right now.
Oh, God.
But they need to come up with a name for it, so it transitions to a commercial, and it's beaches, cities, mountains, anywhere you want to go. Just take the moving golem known as Tanaka. It's really fucking goofy. It's really good, though. They furnish it with wool from the femboy sheep, who complains that he can't be a bride anymore.
Okay, yeah, you really needed to tell me about the femboy sheep. I've got sheep friends I need to bully with this information.
Of course you do. Anyway, another thing is that on the way, they find a hot spring out in the wilderness, and a number of gender confusion things happen. Like the main character forgetting that they're also a girl. And they're going, oh God, I haven't taken my top off yet. I don't want to think about my boobs. And then going into hot spring with their assistant and going, my body is reacting like I expected it to. And then there's adaptive frogs, which are, they're frogs. Except if there's not enough females, they'll gender swap. And it is followed up with the line, they used to be male, but changing their sex changes how they feel too, and they fall in love with a male. And the main character has normal feelings about this reaction, obviously.
I know writers who use subtext, etc.
We'll see where this character ends up. But yeah, they get to the town with the tomb, and that's the end of the episode. It's fine.
I can't believe you didn't want to tell me about this show more.
It happens.
So do most of the shows we watch.
Yeah, but it just kind of washes over me, and I'm like, yeah, this is happening. Like a Sonic Adventure 2 intro line.
Speaking of this is happening, in episode 3 of The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, we meet a rare species, the male purble. It's not actually rare, there's lots of male purbles, we just never see them because they're mostly in Otome games, but this is clearly kind of a Otome game. We're definitely in Otome game type territory somehow here. But I was so sure this character was going to turn out to be another Kazuki Mikadono. He looks exactly like her. But no, this one is actually male, apparently, and is Iana's lover in the story, who does a bunch of shit because in the original story she gets killed and he does a bunch of shit for revenge, but she's still alive. But he's still determined to kill Konoha because the story says that Yomi kills Konoha or tries to kill Konoha. And then he's talking to Iana about this, and they're on the rooftop for reasons, and Iana falls off and Soul catches her, and Yomi is left with the impression that Soul is the source of the problem that he has with Iana not being how he expected. So now he wants to kill Sol as well, which is definitely not going to go well for him.
Yeah, probably not.
In Past the Monster Meet Milady, episode 4, we learn that the Duke takes compliments about as well as you do.
Shut up.
I'm not wrong.
You are!
This starts with Melfiera praising the Duke a bunch, and he gets super embarrassed and irritable about it. Then there is a moment where, Melfiera has been thinking of the engagement as, a formality, and the Duke is going to support her work and stuff. But then she starts thinking about, if we're married, then I will wake up in bed next to him in the morning and I'll go to bed next to him at night. And she really likes this idea all of a sudden. And she gets worried that because she's been raised by her father in a house of almost entirely men, she just doesn't really know how to be a wife and how to do all the wife things, which is cute. But also this Duke definitely doesn't want her to be a normal wife.
Mm-hmm.
We get a reprise of Melfiera's evil stepmom, this time with additional tiny stepbro, who is so small. And then the Duke is taking Fiera away to live with him on his estate. So Melfiera is moving all of her stuff out of her, lab. And some of it is rubbish that she's disposing of. And the Duke is like, hey, let me do you a favor and burn all that garbage for you. And he burns the garbage in the most extra way possible.
Yep.
Just 4 giant pillars of fire in the middle of the castle yard for no reason. Speaking of acting for no reason, in my Awkward Senpai episode 4, so they were going on this business trip to... I've forgotten the name of the place.
Okinawa.
And what they're there to do is cover the making of a photo shoot that this company is doing. So they're attending all the photo shoot sessions and taking the kind of behind-the-scenes photos. And the first part of the photo shoot is on a beach. And Kanawa goes to the beach in a swimsuit for the photo shoot. And Kamigawa's like, why are you in a swimsuit? I have to do... it would be rude of me to turn up in, non-beach clothes while the models are in beach clothes. It has to be explained to her that, no, the model is here doing a job. But this does mean that when the model's hat gets blown off into the water, Kanawa can jump in and chase it and rescue it for her. And generally they have a great time on this trip, but Kamigawa is starting to feel what he describes as uneasy, or at least the translation has it as uneasy, when he's around Kanawa, and he keeps asking, why do I feel uneasy? And, buddy, I have some good news about what you are feeling. Anyway, then they get to a hotel on the return journey, and whoever did the hotel booking for them accidentally only booked one room. It's a twin room, but it's the only room in the hotel. There are no other rooms available, so they're going to have to share it, which is great. I love it when we just do fanfic tropes in rom-coms.
Yep. And
Kamigawa is like, you stay in the room and I will go and I'll spend all night at a manga cafe or something. And Kanawa doesn't want him to do this because it's not fair to him, obviously. But he refuses to be persuaded until she challenges him to more gaming. And then they're playing the racing game together and she's losing all the time. And he's like, did you know there's a turbo button in this? And then she gets very happy when he teaches her about the turbo button and he feels uneasy again looking at her because they're in love and they're both too stupid to realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of characters not realizing they're in love.
God.
A Mangaka's Weirdly Wonderful Workplace. This episode 4 opens on Hasan in a cheerleader outfit trying to cheerlead Futami because Futami is having really serious motivational troubles in the week leading up to the launch of her first tankobon, and nothing's working, and Hasan calls Sato, the editor, to say, hey, we've got this problem with her motivation, and Sato says, I have a plan, and we both just went, oh boy. But it turns out that Sato's plan is very simple. She's just got to pay Futami a genuine compliment.
Yep.
An activity that makes her so blushy. But it works. The moment Futami gets a genuine compliment from Sato, she is fired up to get back to work. And then the book comes out, and Futami signs a bunch of books, and then, I didn't know this was a thing, but it makes sense that it's a thing. The publisher sends Futami out with a person from the marketing department to go around the bookshops in Tokyo and sign a bunch of books in shop.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that, I noticed that on the inside sleeve of the book, where it's got Futami's bio, her image is the pink slime that she's sometimes represented as when she's bocce creaturing.
Yeah, all mangaka have a little creature they end up looking like.
Mm-hmm.
I know Teran Mikami has not a mangaka, but also has a little fucking creature.
Yeah.
Which they are.
Yeah. Yes, they really are. But then Futami is worried about whether the book is selling or not. So they loop back round at the end of the day to the first bookshop they went to, where the proprietor is a fan of the manga and has already bought a signed book. But Futami gets to see a fan actually buying her book and marches up to this fan out of the blue and says, "Can I take a photo with you?"
Mm-hmm.
Which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a really nice moment, a really valuable moment, a moment that says something I believe very strongly, where Futami realizes, as she's working with this marketing girl and Sato and Hasan and all these other people who've had a role in getting the book out, that unlike what she thought, making manga isn't a solitary activity. It's about a whole bunch of people working together to produce these results. And it's like, yes, it's really good for it to say that.
Mm.
And it's going really well because the book gets reprinted. And Futami only finds this out at the celebratory party for the book launch because when Sato called to tell her about it, she forgot to actually say, "You're getting reprinted." She just said, "Are there any changes you want to make?"
Which left her confused.
Yeah, it left her very confused. So she didn't know until it was mentioned that it's being reprinted. And Futami starts worrying that the reason that Sato didn't tell her was because it's no big deal for her as a successful editor for a book to get reprinted. And so after the party has adjourned, Sato drags Futami to a different bar that's like a high-class, stylish bar, which is the bar that Futami imagines Sato going to with various attractive men in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
But Sato takes her there so they can talk privately. And Sato finally lets her mask slip a bit and talks about how much it means to her for this book to be successful and how proud she is of Futami. And look, these women are so gay. And I need them to kiss. It's so... I think the vibe is so strong. Give me the kiss.
I love you so much. You dork.
Just like Futami and Sato love each other so much.
I don't know about that one, but we'll see.
Speaking of dorks, My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me, episode 4, is like a flashback episode of why Aki became friends with Ozuma and Iroha. And it has to do with Iroha maybe falling in with a bad crowd. This is when she was younger, before she became the extroverted menace that she is now. And Aki does some wild shit. Ozuma puts him on the case, and he does some wild shit to try to figure out and get a handle on why Iroha is hanging around with a bunch of people who look like delinquents, who seem to be very benign delinquents, broadly speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, by middle school standards, I guess they're somewhat delinquent.
Mm-hmm.
And what it turns out is that Ozuma and Iroha's parents are really strict, and they are basically not letting Iroha have, like, manga and games and stuff.
Yeah.
And this turns out to be the genesis of the whole game production team.
Yep.
It's like Aki going, well, okay, I want to give Iroha something to do. How about we make a game and she can do the voice acting? And the rest is hysterics.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that this is a really interesting pacing decision. I guess they want to save what is waiting at the end of Volume 1 for a little later in the cycle than Episode 4. But this entire flashback is, I'm pretty sure, from a later volume. It's definitely not in Volume 1 of the light novel.
Uh-huh.
So, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Magical segue goes here. Hands off Sawaranaide Kotesashi-kun, Episode 4. So, at the end of last episode, this girl, Izumi, who burst in on Kotesashi giving Albert a massage because she thought they were having sex and she wanted to watch it, basically, has gotten Kotesashi to come to her room, where it turns out that she is working on becoming a mangaka and giving up swimming. And she, just out of the blue, when he shows up, she asks him, "Are you by chance a man whore?" Which is a wild thing to open a conversation with. And it's clear that she is writing smutty manga. She's writing and drawing smutty manga. But she wants to give up swimming because she gets really nervous in competitions. So even though she's a good swimmer, she's not winning anything. But Kotesashi's scholarship is contingent on all of these girls graduating in their respective sports. So he needs to keep her at the swimming, and she wants to be a swimmer. She likes swimming, but the competitions are frustrating her. And his solution is to show up before her next swim meet and give her an aromatherapy massage in the swimming bath's changing room, which, we know what the effect of his massages are at this point.
Yeah.
And all I can think of is how echoey swimming baths are and how well sound travels in them.
Yep.
And she is moaning and squeaking away.
Yep.
Anyway, in Dusk Beyond the End of the World, we are only on episode 4. And this episode starts with absolutely classic rom-com double date shenanigans. And it ends with a mob showdown with a bunch of people blasting away with Tommy guns and a bunch of murders. I don't know what to tell you about how this show works.
It's really good.
I would probably have coped better with it if it hadn't been for Fide's, the female mob daughter, scion, spending this whole episode in horse riding wear.
Yeah, you were squarely in the crosshairs here.
Look, if you put a woman in a short jacket and jodhpurs, I am not going to be able to devote my full brain cell count to keeping track of the story, okay? So last week I asked the question of why Yugure can get drunk. We find out an answer this episode, which is she has an optional intoxication filter that she can put on when she wants to have fun. And she's drunk at this, the date is ending at a meal where Fides and Akira are at one table and Kalkrom and Yugure are at the other, and it's a restaurant that the family owns, so they've booked it out for just the 4 of them. And then the mob patriarch bursts in with all his goons with their Tommy guns, and someone is very arrogantly like, the robot's drunk, so we can take her. And she just stands up and discharges a bunch of steam and isn't drunk anymore.
Yep.
But then Akira clocks that there's a sniper outside taking aim at Yugure and jumps between her and the bullet. And should be dead. He won't be dead, I'm assuming, but he should be. Maybe he's about to turn out to be a robot as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be dead in episode 0, but then the season started, so I don't know.
He does survive getting shot.
How the fuck is this transition gonna work?
Then there is A Star Brighter Than the Sun, episode 4, in which Sae is trying to get over Koki because she thinks he's got a crush on someone else and she wants the best for him. And she has decided that the only way she's going to get over him is to cut him off and to not interact with him, which she's very bad at.
Yep.
She's so bad at it. And he's so keen to spend time around her that he really doesn't give it a chance. Sui is watching all this happen and suffering in sympathy with it. She's super sad about it. Mio, who is very unemotional and very blunt, has a squirt gun that she squirts them with when they get too overwrought. At one point, Sae is wondering if the reason that Koki worked so hard to get into their high school is because it's where his crush goes, which is this episode's good news moment. Yes, he did. You'll understand one day, babe. And then they are going to do boating on a lake, and all the kids pair up in 4s to take the boats, and Sae is left to herself. There's one boat left, and she starts pushing it out into the water, and it turns out that Koki has also been left out, and so they are going to have to be in the boat together. The place where it's impossible for Sae to avoid Koki, and he asks her, I feel like you've been avoiding me, what's up? And she explains that, the way she explains it to him is, I've been trying to stay out of your way so that your crush doesn't get the wrong idea about us. Which she means well, bless her. But then they run the boat into a rock, literally, and it capsizes. And everybody manages to capsize their boats at basically the same time. But they agree that they're going to keep being friends, that they're not going to be apart. And she does have a slip of the tongue and say she likes him, but he doesn't pick up on it, or he doesn't react. So presumably next episode there's going to be a bunch of scenes of Koki going, she said she likes me, but she can't have meant it.
This is the way of things.
Mm-hmm. In Touring After the Apocalypse, episode 4, it starts with them going to Akihabara, where there's a historical explanation of how Akihabara became the Electric City after the destruction of Tokyo and the post-war economic recovery and so on. And they find a cosplay shop, and somehow, despite everything else being worn out to shit, all the cosplay costumes are still intact. So Yoko puts on a butler outfit and she puts Irie in a Catgirl maid outfit, and they spend the rest of the episode wearing those outfits. Then they find themselves in a place where a bunch of animals that have escaped from the zoo have accumulated. And, most of them are normal animals, but then in the background of one shot, there is a fucking adamantoid walking past, just like a turtle the size of a small house. They move on and they find a field where they almost run into a tiger, and they're terrified for a bit, but the tiger already has a kill and just carries the kill off. And they find the radio station that they detected at the end of the last episode, and it turns out to be run by an AI. And I'm pretty sure that what's going to happen, they think that they are on a journey to reunite with Yoko's sister. And I'm pretty sure it is going to turn out that all the humans are dead. Yoko is the only human still around who's actually, biologically human. But yeah, I mean, it's cute. Good vibes. Which is also Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right, episode 3.
Yeah.
It's sports day. Luna is shredding at basketball until she gets tired and needs food at the break. And because Otori feeds Luna at the break and she's able to get back in the game, he gets declared co-MVP of their winning team. Their class is the winning team, which he is not happy about. He does not like having that attention. But Luna needs more blood, and so she feeds on him in front of the whole class, and she does a little... In her feeding baby form, she does a little, boo-boo, go away thing for the wound on his arm. And the entire class become her mamas because she's so cute.
Yep.
This show is just ridiculous. And then they go searching for a club for Luna to join. They look at theatre, where the production is called Hamlet Momotaro.
Which is only revealed after she says a line, and it's like, wait, I didn't say that line right, did I? Nope, I did.
Yeah. They're doing what's clearly a bit from Hamlet first, and then it turns into a Momotaro thing, and she gets so confused. They go to the occult club, but the occult club just want to, dissect Luna, and so they run away and they're pursued by a giant tentacle.
Exit stage left, pursued by tentacle.
They try out the volleyball club and help them, train. Luna reads a bunch of volleyball manga and trains them from the volleyball manga, but she decides not to join the volleyball club. And then she tells Otori that she has a very specific set of requirements for a club, which are all about where the club room is and what features it has. And he's thinking about it and he goes, wait, I do know a club like that. And he takes her to it, and it's the art club, which has no members except for Otori.
Yep.
And we disagree about whether Luna was searching up what club is he in and how can she force him to recommend her his club, or whether she just had this set of criteria that perfectly resemble his club room.
I genuinely think she is just being a fussy vampire about some things, and it's the mangaka setting up this gag.
It works either way. It's fun.
It's good.
Let's talk about some older stuff. We're into season 3 of Ascendance of Bookworm,
which is fresh to me as well.
So towards the end of season 2, Mine did manage to make books. And the Ink Makers Guild get a hold of one of these books, and they confirm that yes, she has used ink, and they're mad about this because it means she's making ink without guild oversight. And this is the start of the tone taking a swerve, because suddenly there's this bigger picture of Mine's power and knowledge and abilities are going to attract the attention of all the powerful aristocratic factions who are going to try to control her, potentially by kidnapping her loved ones and using that to influence her. And at the same time, it's winter. She's been required to stay at the temple over winter in case she gets cut off from her commute by snow. And the way it brings her homesickness to life is, it's so sad. I'm so sad for Mine. At one point, she has to explain who Gutenberg was, and she's basically describes him as if he is the god of books. But yeah, the tone took a swerve, and we'll see how that goes. I'm scared for Mine. I'm more scared for Lutz and Mine's sister, but yeah, feels like bad shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I finished watching City the Animation with Tara. There was a whole arc through these last 3 episodes of 2 of the characters trying to start a YouTube channel and just taking the piss out of YouTubers deliberately courting the kind of YouTube poop stuff. There was a sequence with a shogi match where the competitors were just putting down weird shit as tiles and having all sorts of making the rules up as they went along stuff. Then the final episode, through the show, there's this struggling ramen joint, and in the final episode, they receive in the post a little golden star and a certificate. and they assume it's a Michelin star, which obviously would be a huge deal. And it turns into a musical episode of them celebrating this amazing achievement for this restaurant. And then it turns out it's not a Michelin star, it's the police officer likes to reward people that he thinks are doing good work or whatever. And he has taken the star off the badge on his uniform and affixed it to this certificate and just given it to this ramen shop. So it was all a misunderstanding. And like, I really enjoyed watching this show. It's very funny. It's got some really powerful, heartfelt moments. The characters are delightful. I don't think I can explain why I like it at all. It is like nothing else I've ever experienced. The closest thing is Excel Saga, which I don't know how much you know about Excel Saga.
I know enough to know that it would not be my thing. I tried to watch it at one point. It didn't stick.
Yeah, like extremely chaotic manga, which is usually thought of as not having a plot. Like most people would say, does it have a plot? No, it just does the same kind of bit over and over again with different flavoring. I am convinced, or I certainly when I watched it, I was convinced that actually it did eventually have a plot that had been building up the whole time. City feels like that, but much more deliberately so. It's bewildering, which I love.
Mm-hmm. You do love to be bewildered.
Particularly by anime.
Mm-hmm.
In The Wise Man's Grandchild, episode 9, so Sicilian and Shin have, like, started a relationship, and so now they have to meet each other's parents. And Sicilian takes Shin to meet her parents and get their blessing, and her father is extremely happy about this, and her mother is pretty happy about it, but does insist that they get engaged immediately because it would be improper for a noble's daughter like Sicilian to be dating without being engaged. So they're immediately engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Shin then invents flying magic and the telephone, and the grandma is yelling down the telephone at him about, creating things without thinking about the consequences, and they leave the telephone hanging from the dick of a statue in the lobby of the Hot Springs building while they go out to have training exercises or whatever.
They sure do.
Shin then makes his buddies, like, legendary quality protective gear, and they go out for actual combat training and fight a bunch of catastrophic class demons as if they're nothing, because this show is just, there's power creep and then there's power headlong gallop, and I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has just like, humanity has not exactly reached the tier of power that a lot of other situations, and suddenly the main character lets them get powerful. Woo!
Mm-hmm. And then there's an engagement party for Shin and Sicilian.
Yep.
And finally, 9 episodes in, they get to actually kiss without being interrupted. And with nobody stooping on. There was this kiss scene, and I was half expecting, 9 different characters' heads to appear from behind various objects all around the screen, and it didn't happen. They actually just got to have a nice kiss for once.
Yeah.
In PatLabor the New Files, episodes 10 to 12, episode 10 opens on suddenly it's Blade Runner. It's almost a shot-for-shot recreation of early scenes in Blade Runner, but with Oota, the cop who is the trigger-happy macho asshole cop, as Deckard. That turns out to be a drunken dream, and he wakes up from that, and he's at a party, but all the other men from the squad who were at the party with him appear to have been murdered, and he's lost his memory. So he goes on the run, and it turns out that they were just faking being dead. In an attempt to make Oota, reconsider his violence or how violent he is, or something, and it doesn't work. Then there's an episode that's all about the gang adopt an abandoned kitten, which they're not allowed to do. So there's lots of efforts to keep the kitten a secret from various people. And then the cat gets into Noah's cockpit as she's going out for deployment and pisses on the floor and then starts climbing on the controls and making the robot do things in the middle of a very tense standoff. And then the final episode, Goto, who's the unit commander, and Shinobu, who shares an office with him and is the commander of their, sibling unit. And they've had, a tension between them the whole time. Goto is driving Shinobu to something, and they get caught in a typhoon, and all the roads are closed, so they have to find a hotel, and the only hotels they can find are love hotels, so they end up sharing a room in a love hotel with, absolutely predictable chaste rom-com shenanigans. In Scrap Princess episode 8, we have the resolution of the plot line with the orphan girl Sin that Shannon adopted, who is clearly, like, is established to be a kind of, like, mind-controlling influence, sort of, on Shannon and Raquel. And the only thing that matters is that we learn the truth, which is that Sin is a hot butch. Because the other hot butch, evil peacekeeper lady, shows up and resets Sin so that she turns back into her true form. And, I mean, I didn't put this in the notes, and you razzed me for not putting this in the notes. They look like a hot lesbian couple. I'm very gay for them, and I hope they're very gay for each other. I don't think they are, but, like, they should be.
I mean, they're the kind of characters that would get fanfics written about them because one of them is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And God knows the Chosties love that shit.
I mean, they're kind of both weapons, but one of them is definitely the dominant and one of them is the subordinate.
Mm-hmm.
We also started season 2 of Kimi ni Todoke, but it starts with a recap episode, which is narrated from Kurumi's perspective, which is interesting and quite good. There were little bits added in there that fleshed out Kurumi's backstory a bit.
Mm-hmm. And you complained that they were making you relate to Kurumi.
They made me like the villain again. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
She's not the villain. Boo. Fucking redemption arcs. I'm so angry. It's not even a bad redemption arc. Like, there's actual work has happened there.
Yep.
But boo. Grr. Fucking Keima Katsuragi. So Watching That Right is a project of Slimebug Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics are by Val. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebug.social, YouTube at youtube.com/@slimebugproductions, Patreon at patreon.com/slimebugproductions. Download all episodes from Libsyn at slimebug.pro, and join our Discord via the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.